Thank you for participating in the fourth local and domestic integrated academic conference in 2021. My name is Young-Suk Shin. We'd like to introduce main research. Our research topic is difference in academic achievement of university students majoring in information and communication engineering and counseling psychology according to MBTI personality type. The research outline consists of motive, theoretical background, proposed method, result, and finally conclusion and discussions. The future education methodology in the era of the fourth industrial revolution requires a customized teaching method that analyzes and teaches learners various learning styles. In the era of fourth industrial revolution, centered on intelligence, with the possibility of application through grafting with other academic fields, is enriched, edited. It will meet the demand of the times to expand and explore the styles of learners in other fields of study by expanding in a specific field of study. Therefore, in this study, the relationship between personality type and academic achievement was analyzed after performing the MBTI personality type test on students who participated in programming classes and the students who participated in counseling classes for a group of university students in engineering and humanities and social sciences, which are different fields of study. First, the theoretical background of the personality type analysis of learners will be reviewed, and then the research method will be introduced. In psychology, the attempt to understand human beings by classifying the numerous characteristics of human beings into a set of simple core types is called psychology typology. The human typology proposed by Jung looks at human types from two perspectives. First is the concept of introversion, extroversion based on whether the direction of psychological energy that induced all human actions is directed toward the outside or the inside of the human. The second is the aspect of the functions of seeing how the mind works, and there are four functions: thinking and feeling and sensing and intuition. So Myers and Macaulay in 1985 added a project pairs of judging perceiving to Jung's typology and developed it as a useful evaluation tools that can classify and understand various people in everyday life. This evaluation tool is the Myers-Briggs Type Indicator. That is MBTI. The MBTI first classifies humans according to which direction they prefer among these four pairs of opposite poles. Table 1 summarizes the key characteristics of the typoid personality types. The personality types appearing in the MBTI seems to show differences in the subject already preferred in middle and high schools or in specific field within the subject. The papers of Young-Mi Park, Chun-Soo Hong, and Se-hee Park show these cases well. The papers of Young-Mi Park according to the study of Myers and Macaulay in 1985, the difference in learning styles between the sensory type and the intuitive type is that the sensory type places importance on concrete experiences, whereas the intuitive type is interested in abstract concepts. In 1982, Golay created 4 learning types based on the TLC and based 4 temperaments and revealed the differences in the learning method. In 1997, Lawrence also observed the learning situation in a study on personality types and the learning styles and reported that learners' interest, learning style preference, and problem-solving strategies differ according to personality types. The next, 2001, Mangon Kim and Jong-Chul Han introduced the learning types according to Golay's temperament to Korea as a concept of learning personality types and developed it as a UNI learning personality type test. Kapjusor 2015 Kapjusor studies where the 4 temperaments of MBTI is SP, SJ, and TNF, and the 4 temperament learning method. The 4 temperament learning method is behavioral, normative, inquiry, ideal. Is of the UNI have a mutual effect on academic achievement. As a result of the study, a partially but high concordance was confirmed between the MBTI for temperament and the UNI for learning personality types. In particular, as a result of checking the paired academic achievement with a similarity between temperament and the learning type is assumed. When SJ and SP selected the normative learning method, MT and NF showed the highest academic achievement when the inquiry type learning method was selected. Understanding the types of learning temperament through case study so far and providing the right learning method and appropriate learning environment for learning is expected to provide the best satisfaction to learners with a customized teaching method. Therefore, in this study, we explore the relationship between personality types and academic achievement after performing the MBTI personality type test on students who participate in programming classes and counseling classes for a group of college students in engineering and humanities and social science, which are different fields of study. The subject of this study were students who took programming language and practice between 2017 and 2019 among the major courses in Information and Communication Engineering at a 4-year university in Jeep metropolitan city, and abnormal psychology among the majors of the Counselling Psychology department between 2018 and 2020. A total of 210 students participated, of which 114 were Information and Communication Engineering students, and 96 were Counseling Psychology students. The average age of the subject was 90.53 years and 21.41 years, respectively, and the gender distribution was more males, 67%, number is 69 people, in the Department of Information and Communication Engineering, and more females, 72%, 69 in Counseling Psychology. The personality types of the study subject were measured and classified using the Korean version of MBTI Form M. The Korean version of Form M was published in 2013 with a total of 93 questions. The sub-items consist of 21 items measuring extroversion, introversion, preference, 26 items measuring sensory, intuition, preference, 24 items classifying thought, feeling, preference, and 22 items classifying judgment, perception, preference. The academic achievement of the study subject was measured by the final grades at the end of the semester in the subjects they took. For the final grade at the end of the semester, the scores for the midterm, final exam, assignment, and attendance of the subject were added up, and the final low score calculated at the end of the semester was converted into that score and used for analysis. The collected data were statistically analyzed with the IBM SPSS version 26. Descriptive statistical analysis was used for the demographic characteristics of the subject or the distribution of measurement. The t-test and one-way ANOVA were used for the mean difference for each group. Two-way ANOVA was used for the main effect and interaction effect by groups and sub-elements. The regression analysis was applied to compare the influence of each personality dimension on academic achievement. The distribution patterns of subject by department and personality type are represented in Table 3 and Table 4. This is Table 3. Looking at the distribution of preference frequencies for each of the 4 personality dimensions. Overall, the sample used when MBTI M-type was standardized into the Korean version, and the distribution of students for each major participating in this study were similar. This is a standardized sample. As a result, we examine whether there is a difference in the frequency distribution of personality types between the students of the Department of Information and Communication and Engineering and the Counseling Psychology. There was a difference only in the SN dimension. In Table 3, we show SN dimension. In the case of Information and Communication Department student, similar to the ratio of the standardized sample, there were more S types, but in the case of Counseling Psychology, the frequency of N types was higher. In this case, Information and Communication student is this show. And psychology, counseling psychology show this value. In the case of information, looking at the distribution of the 16 MBTI types, in the case of Department of Information and Communication, ESFP, this one, ESFP, the 15.8% was the most common types, which is much higher than that of the standardized sample. Standardized sample just only 5.3. In the case of counseling psychology case, INFP, this case is the 14.6, and ENFP 13.5% were the most common types, which were also higher than the proportions of the standardized sample. Standardized sample just only 6.5 and 8.4. Table 5 shows whether the distribution of students in each department differs for each of the 4 functions types. 4 functions types ST, SF, NT, NF, and the 4 temperament types SJ, SP, NF, NF, and T. Looking at the 4 functions type, these 4 functions types, the student of the Department of Information and Communication Engineering had a higher ratio of the sensory thinking types. The sensory thinking types, this one, and the student of Counseling Psychology Department had the highest ratio of the intuitive feeling types. This one shows. This one. So, looking at the 4 temperament types, the Department of Information and Communication Engineering had the highest rate of sensory perception. This one. The case is 38.6. And the Department of Counseling Psychology had the highest rate of the intuitive feeling. The counseling psychology case is the highest rate of intuitive feeling, 39.6. Two-way ANOVA was performed to determine whether the subject academic achievement differed according to the personality type or measure of the MBTI. As a result of the analysis, there was a difference in grade only in the J-P dimension, depending on the measure. This show in this case. In other words, in the case of information and the communication engineering department student, the J-type grade were significantly better than the P-type student. But the counseling psychology students showed opposite patterns. Table 6 shows these results. A more detailed interaction pattern between these measures and personality types is presented in Figure 1. This green line displays the information and communication engineering department student, and the blue line displays counseling psychology department student. In order to check the detailed difference between personality types, measures, and grade, each major year was divided into a t-test to see if there was an average difference between grades for each of the 4 personality dimensions. As a result, in the cases of counseling psychology students, there was no difference in grade in any personality dimension. However, in the case of a student majoring in information and communication engineering, there was a significant difference in all 3 dimensions, EI, NS, JP, except for the thinking, feeling dimensions. So this case, this one, EI, NS, JP, only except for thinking, feeling dimension. This one shows. Table 7 showed these results in detail in the case of information and communication engineering students. The introversion rather than the extroversion types, the sensing types rather than the intuition types, and the judgment types rather than the perceiving types had a significantly higher grade. In order to confirm that this difference, which appears only in the Department of Information and Communication Engineering student, becomes more evidence when certain types are combined. Only the data of the Department of Information and Communication Engineering students were divided into 4 functions and 4 temperaments, and we compared them through one-way ANOVA. As a result, there was no great difference between the 4 functions, but there was a significant difference between the 4 temperaments. Table 4 showed this result. As a result of post-hoc analysis, Shepard tested to find out whether this difference is significantly, specifically, due to the difference between the types of temperament. The grade of the student belonged to the sensory judgment types were significantly better. This is shown. Multivariate regression analysis was performed to specifically track the magnitude of the relative influence of the four dimensions of IE, SN, TF, and JP on performance. As a result, the table line is shown. In order of judgment type J, sensing type S, and introversion type I, the influence on grade was greater. This judging, sensing, introversion, the cases were greater. Table 9 showed this result. The main research result identified through the analysis, their meanings and implications are summarized as follows. First, looking at the distribution ratio of the personality types by major, in the case of the Department of Information and Communication compared to the Department of Counseling Psychology, E-type, S-type, and the P-type are four personality dimensions, and by function, sensing, thinking, and sensory feeling types, and by temperament, sensory perception types had a great ratio. On the other hand, the students of the counseling psychology department were more likely to the intuition thinking or intuition feeling. Second, when analyzing the relationship between personality type and academic achievement, there was a difference in grade in specific major subjects according to specific personality types. In the case of a student majoring in information and communication engineering, the student of the sensory, judging, and extroverted, and the sensory judgment, the temperament type combined these personality types had the highest grade. The result of the student belonged to the sensory judgment type, having significantly superior grade could be explained by the high similarity in the characteristics of the programming subject to the characteristics of the normal type learners revealed in the Capjutar studies in 2016. Whereas the previous studies examining the relationship between personality types classified as MBTI and academic achievement have mainly been conducted by selecting only one specific academic field. The significance of this study can be found in the fact that the subject of engineering and humanities and social science, which seems to have quite different required ability or aptitude, was simultaneously compared to explore which personality types show the stronger and weaker. The limitation of this study is that the sample is limited to universities in a specific areas to generalize the result of the study to all engineering students or humanities majors. Therefore, in the future, it is expected that the limitations will be supplemented by accumulating the analysis result that include professors with various major areas and various teaching methods. Thank you for attention. Thank you.